What's going on, everybody? It's Nick Payne with Face Mask Fantasy. Today, profiling the top rookie running back in the 2021 class. Pittsburgh Steelers selection, Najee Harris, the 24th overall pick, out of Alabama, comes to the Steelers after setting school records with the Tide. Over 3,800 rushing yards, 57 total scores, stands 6'2", over 220 pounds. In a word, he is a bulldozer and immediately steps in as the Steelers' RB1. Now, as I am doing this video, the Cam Akers news has broke that he tore his Achilles. I'm bringing this up because if you take Akers out of the equation, Najee Harris is now being drafted as the RB13 overall, an ADP of about 21. So back of the second round, both in 10 and 12 team leagues. It's honestly really simple. Under Mike Tomlin, and I'm pulling some information from Fantasy Points Scott Barrett, phenomenal source of fantasy information, working for a phenomenal site for fantasy information. Under Tomlin, dating back to 2014, the average bell cow finish for the Pittsburgh Steelers in fantasy is the RB6, averaging about 24, 25 attempts per game, which includes rushing and receiving. And Harris absolutely proved at Alabama that not only is he a bruiser, but he can catch the ball as well. He's got 3 down back written all over him. It's why he was a first-round selection and the first running back taken off the board. There's no reason to believe he doesn't get that type of work, the amount of work that Le'Veon Bell enjoyed during his prime years in Pittsburgh, and the kind of work that James Conner received for a few years while he was healthy. Add it all up, it's pretty simple. Harris is being drafted as the RB13, and Steelers RB1s are consistently close to the top half of running back finishes on a season-by-season basis. This all sounds great, right? Sounds almost kind of easy. In the second round, just draft Najee Harris. You can almost expect a floor of around RB6, RB7, RB8. That's a good return on investment in the back half of the second round. So why is he falling there? Well, it's kind of easy to connect those dots. One, he's a rookie, so there's more proven players going ahead of him. The Akers injury will obviously bump him up a spot or two. And you could sort of make the argument, although I don't think it holds much water in this scenario, that he's an unknown. We haven't seen him play in the NFL yet. That's just me playing devil's advocate. When you are the Steelers' RB1 under Mike Tomlin, you get all of the work. Most NFL teams these days deploy running backs by committee, no matter how talented the RB1 is. The options behind that guy on the depth chart often see some type of role. In Pittsburgh, that is not the case. It is minimal work for anybody who is not the starter in the Steelers' backfield. Harris is going to soak up a ton of work. And on top of all that, maybe if you're not a believer in Ben Roethlisberger anymore, as far as arm strength goes, we could see a ton of dump-offs. We could see a ton of receiving work in Harris's future as a rookie, and that is going to set him apart from other players being drafted around him, and it gives him, quite honestly, top 5 running back finish upside. The main concern, outside of him being a rookie and being an unknown, and when I say concern, I use that term loosely because I'm not concerned about it, just taking a look at his ADP and why it is where it is and not higher. One of the main on-paper concerns is that the Steelers' offensive line stinks. It's very much a work in progress. Pittsburgh, year in and year out in the history of their franchise, has historically had good offensive lines, strong offensive lines. That's not the case this year. If that's your only concern, that is not enough to scare me off from a guy who is going to see 80% of the work coming out of this backfield. Harris is big, but he's elusive. He forced a lot of missed tackles while he was in college. He proved he can squeeze through tight windows. He is a professional runner already. And again, they're going to scheme up plays where he gets the ball by catching it out of the backfield. The work will simply be there. Offensive line play, generally speaking, does not hold back good running backs. And Harris fits that mold. He landed in an optimal situation for a lot of work. He's going to get a lot of work. And he's got the frame, the build, the size to be a 3-down back. Of course, there's lots of names you're going to like in the second round of drafts. There are stars and studs all over the place. Harris is about to join those ranks, and I fully expect him to be a first-round pick in 2022 redrafts. As far as dynasty goes, in one quarterback leagues, he's in conversation for the top pick overall. I would probably lean Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts just because of the longevity of wide receiver and tight end, but Harris is not far behind, and if you have a need at running back and you're set at those other positions, Harris is in the conversation for the 1.01. In Superflex leagues, he should probably be in conversation for top 5. After the top 3 quarterbacks, and again, Chase and Pitts will be in that conversation as well. Harris is a slam dunk, let's say top 6, maybe top 7 pick in Superflex leagues. At that point, you're stealing if he falls that far in Superflex drafts. The talent is there. The projected volume is there. This is an offense that scores. They were top 12 in 2020. They move the ball well. Harris will help them do that even better than what James Conner and the rest of the backfield was able to give the Steelers last year. He's already being drafted as a borderline RB1, and I think he finishes as an RB1. And I think we see Najee Harris enter the first round of 2022 redrafts because I fully expect a top 10 fantasy finish. That's just what happens in Pittsburgh. They churn out high-end running back production for fantasy. Harris has a golden opportunity to pay huge dividends at his current ADP of around 21. Take him there, whether you started with a running back, whether you started with Travis Kelce, whether you started with a wide receiver in the first round, get him in the back half of the second round, and don't look back. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you see the top 10 upside with Najee Harris? Do you think it's better? Do you think he'll finish top 5? Because that's been the floor for Pittsburgh bell cow running backs over the past 6-7 years. Do you disagree? Are there just too many names that you like ahead of him and therefore you're not going to take him in the second round? Maybe you like the wide receivers there. Maybe you prefer Darren Waller. Maybe you prefer one of the other running backs if they slide. Let me know. We can have a conversation about this. This feels like the easiest rookie to project. And I think his ADP at right now, he's a value. But if you disagree, again, we can have a conversation about this. Drop some comments below and let's talk. Till then, this is Nick Payne with Face Mask Fantasy, producing fantasy content for you each and every day. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening.